There's a vegetable in your kitchen right now that can stop your heart. You call it a potato. Raw and green, it's loaded with a toxin called solanine. You eat it every week without a second thought. Why? Because countless people learned that lesson the hard way, thousands of years ago, so you wouldn't have to. This is the story of how your ancestors turned poison into dinner. And the method they used is still running inside your body today. We picture ancient survival as dramatic, a spear raised against a saber tooth, a desperate run from wolves. But the real enemy had no teeth. It just sat quietly on a branch, looking delicious. Plants can't run, they can't bite, they can't escape a hungry mouth. So they evolved a different weapon: chemistry, bitter compounds, toxins, poisons that range from upsetting to dead in 20 minutes. For a plant, being poisonous isn't an accident. It's the entire strategy. A plant that gets eaten less often survives to spread its seeds. So the deadliest plants were often the ones that lasted the longest. Every forest was a minefield disguised as a buffet, and your ancestors walked into it hungry every single day. There was no menu, no warning label, just leaves, roots, and berries that all looked equally innocent. Before language, before fire, the body already had defenses. Start with bitterness. That taste kids hate? That's not your tongue being dramatic. That's a 400-million-year-old alarm bell. Bitterness is the flavor of alkaloids, the same chemical family as nicotine and lethal poison. Humans evolved 25 different types of bitter taste receptors. Compare that to just a handful for sweetness. Evolution wasn't expecting a friendly world. It was bracing for betrayal at every meal. Then there's disgust, that recoil at the smell of rot, the wrinkled nose, the curled lip. It's identical in every culture on Earth, because it isn't learned. It's hardwired. But instinct alone wasn't enough. Plenty of deadly things don't taste bad at all. Sweet almonds are safe. Bitter almonds can release cyanide. They look almost identical. Evolution couldn't solve every problem. Some dangers hide behind a perfectly normal appearance, and no amount of instinct can warn you about something that looks completely ordinary. Strategy 1. The small dose. Find a new plant? You don't eat a handful. You rub a tiny bit on your lip. You wait. Does it burn? If not, you taste a crumb. Then you wait a full day. This exact method is still taught in survival courses today. It was paid for in centuries of stomach aches. Strategy 2. Let someone else test it first. Watch the animals. If birds gorge on a berry, it's probably not lethal. Ancient humans were obsessive observers of wildlife. The bird already paid the tuition. You just watch the lesson. But that strategy had limits. Deer can eat plants that would poison you. Goats can survive things that would send a human to the grave. Animals were clues, not guarantees. Strategy 3. Change one thing at a time. Eat 5 new things and get sick, and you've learned nothing. Change one variable and every reaction becomes data. Test, observe, repeat. That's not primitive thinking. That's science before science had a name. Here's where it stops being clever and starts being unbelievable. There's a plant called cassava. Today it feeds 500 million people. In its raw form, it releases cyanide into your blood. Eat it wrong, and it can kill you. And yet entire civilizations built their food supply around it. How? Someone figured out an exact sequence. Peel it, grate it, soak it, ferment it, press it, cook it. Skip one step, and people still get sick today. Nobody understood cyanide. Nobody understood chemistry. They just knew the steps worked. They had the how. The how was enough. Acorns are full of bitter tannins that can hurt you raw. So people learned to grind them and rinse them for days. In Australia, communities process toxic plants the same way, refined over tens of thousands of years. We have proof of what happens when that knowledge is missing. In 1861, 2 explorers were starving in the Australian outback. Local communities were thriving on the very same land. The explorers found the same plant the locals ate. They ground it up and ate plenty of it, and kept getting weaker. Their stomachs were full. They were still dying. They didn't know it needed special preparation first. They had the same food. They just didn't have the recipe. They starved to death, surrounded by food. So what's the actual answer to the question? It wasn't instinct. It wasn't even cleverness. It was memory. An elder wasn't just an old person. They were a living library. Hundreds of plants stored in one mind. Which ones feed you? Which ones heal you? Which ones kill you? That knowledge had no backup. It lived in spoken words and nowhere else. If an elder died unexpectedly, an entire database could disappear overnight. Every time someone died before passing knowledge on, the library burned a little. This is why cultures wrapped knowledge in stories and songs. A list of 300 plants is impossible to remember. But a frightening story sticks for generations. The system wasn't perfect. The death cap mushroom tastes completely fine. It lets you fall asleep feeling normal. Then it quietly destroys your liver days later. No instinct catches it. The only defense was someone learning to recognize it by sight and making sure everyone after them feared it too. Every safe food on your plate today was paid for. Somebody, somewhere, found out a berry was deadly. And the only reason you know to avoid it is because someone remembered. Your grocery store sits on top of an invisible graveyard. People who tested the world with their own bodies, so that you, one day, wouldn't have to. Human civilization wasn't built by the strongest people. It was built by the people who remembered what happened yesterday. So the next time you peel a potato, remember you're holding the result of thousands of years of trial and error. Most of the people who made that knowledge possible will never be remembered. But every meal you eat is proof they were here. You didn't have to wonder whether it would kill you. That confidence isn't natural. It's inherited. It's the end of an unbroken chain of humans, all of them paying attention, all of them remembering, all of them passing the message forward. The message was simple. This one's safe, we checked. If you had to start over tomorrow in a forest you've never seen, do you think you'd survive long enough to learn? Let me know in the comments. I'll see you in the next one.